NFT drop and how we're going to move forward. Still very much in the near term. I mean, it definitely the more advanced processes, procedures, and how we're going to move forward as a DAO, are not things that were necessarily deeply revealed or engaged today. But super excited by the reaction, the enthusiasm of the community. We opened up a forum, and we have thousands of folks who are excited to purchase memberships, which give both online and virtual and governance rights, as well as eventual ability to purchase memberships to the club that we ultimately buy. So really excited about that. Deeply appreciative of your support and confidence in us, as an existing team. So what I'd like to just quickly talk about is what happens over the next week. So currently we are working to create a corporation. We actually need a corporation to collect funds from the NFT sale in a compliant way, such that we can pay taxes and then leave the remainder of the funds for the DAO to actually operate with. So we have that in process, and we're doing that. So when the NFT sale happens this weekend and we sell the memberships, we will immediately convert, or as quickly as possible, from ETH into stablecoin, preserve the value of the capital that we contribute as a community, reserve some portion for taxes so that we're compliant, and then the remainder will be used for DAO operations. What DAO operations are is effectively, everything outside of the actual, as we've talked about, asset purchase and ownership of the actual asset. So it's, determining club rules. It's, governing what club, an area, that we might want to purchase in. It's actually setting up the structure and voting on who will ultimately, be in charge of the various functions. If you've read the, website, it gives a decent overview. And, to be clear, we intentionally didn't put 5 pages of information about the future on there, because this is a 2-week-old emergent project, and in a very murky and challenging regulatory area, we put, we believe, enough information for folks to make a decision. Hey, I'd like to participate, or hey, I'd like to wait and see how this project develops. So we've been excited by the reception to date. There are 2 types of memberships. There's the global membership and leisure membership. Both will give folks the opportunity to buy a physical club membership. Both give rights to participate in all the exciting things we're going to be doing online. And we're super excited for people to actually be able to jump in and finally participate in a real way. And I shouldn't say finally. I mean, we're 2 weeks into the project, and governing and growing. So that's the update. The reception has been really positive, and we're excited, with extremely reasonable questions, and more than happy to have folks come up who have questions they want answered. But before that, would love to kick it over to anybody else who's on stage who wants to chat, offer some thoughts.
Hey, Mike, I think we've all been just so positively overwhelmed by this community to this point. I mean, I haven't been a part of too many things that have been so engaged with people that are so excited about creating something new and different with an amazing platform like a country club or a golf course or something like that. It's just it's been great to watch, and I think that the people that we have involved at the kind of the founder level at this point, in terms of the founding chat and what we're trying to build, are just extraordinary people. And And the whole spirit of this thing is, as we sort out the details of the organization itself, where we're going to buy the golf course, what golf course we're going to buy, the underlying philosophy is that people who are buying into the NFT drop are going to have a major voice in all decisions that are non-financial in terms of what we can do based on securities law. So anybody that's going to be buying in, you're going to have a huge voice in terms of what this club is. And I think that's the most important point. And it's going to be a kind of a constantly evolving organism that is drawn by all of our members. And that's really what we want to accomplish here.
I think the other thing to add to that, I echo 100% of what Jim just shared. But I would also say is like the team is super cognizant of the fact that this is just the right to purchase a membership at a physical club. And we want to ensure that there's a tremendous amount of value provided to anyone who's purchasing, whether a global membership or a leisure membership. So we're going to do everything possible and leverage the community and network as best as possible to provide as much value, whether it's in-person outings at top courses, whether it's high-end trips, whether it's amazing partnerships with merch companies, gear companies, etc., so that there is as much value as you can possibly provide prior to even setting foot on a physical course that we own.
Baz, I think that's super important, and I think kind of building on that, there's some phenomenal ideas that have been dropped in each one of these respective channels over the past, couple days and weeks, and I think everyone just needs to keep them coming. We're hearing all of these, and we're starting to slot these into various idea channels and starting to categorize them, take each and every one of them to heart, and making sure that we hear every one of these requests. I saw some notes today around, what's going to happen, with the type of course and how. All those things are to be determined, but keep the ideas coming. We're going to keep collating them and make sure everyone has a voice here.
Cool. So to talk a little bit about, DAO infrastructure, we're putting all that into place such that, once the sale happens, the NFT sale, initially, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're most likely going to have DAO governance occur via the NFT itself. It's going to take some time for us to work out the exact manner in which the Links token that will accompany those NFTs gets dropped. So in the meantime, the governance via Snapshot or DAO infrastructure will happen via the NFT. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Chris? Chris, you're muted. Okay, cool. He's having an audio issue. So basically, we have a really good team. We're putting in place our treasury and DAO management solution. That will then enable us, once we actually have that in place and we have the owners, to start to appoint folks. Start to nominate in the way that many of you who have participated in DAOs before understand this happens. But basically, we will allow self nominations. We'll allow other folks to nominate, and we're going to have votes on specific functional areas that will make us be successful. In the same way that if you think about what this DAO is looking to achieve, it is in many ways similar operationally to what companies do, right? Like we have marketing, we have sales, we have operations, we have M&A, we have identifying different properties. We'll have operational issues, and so for all of that to occur, we're going to need it'll look different than a corporate structure, but we're going to need, call it quote unquote, I don't know what we'll call them, pods or committees, and that's what our governance rights will be used to decide via nomination. So really excited. We have a couple really fantastic community members actually working on creating those that infrastructure. It's tools that, by the way, we know really well. that some of us have invested in them, some of us have used them in other DAOs, and we really feel confident about what this means in terms of our ability to finally and formally basically utilize the voice of the community beyond just suggestions into actual active governance. Hey Doug, Meta Buckets, did you want to chat?
Oh yeah, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Oh sweet. Yeah, no, I just want to say I got turned on to this project by the founder of Twitch. Or not founder, but one of the main guys who invented Twitch. He told me about you guys, and I don't know. How do you guys plan on like covering things in the future? I know this is all very preliminary and stuff, but one thing I keep thinking of is like golf course maintenance and getting revenue that's not from just the members.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, why don't we jump ahead of that? That's a great question. I think candidly we have some of the absolute experts on that, and Bez and Jim on this call, and then we can jump back to questions about the NFT drop that folks might have. So the first thing is the NFT drop itself, that membership drop, that is the initial funding mechanism. Okay, let's the amount that we raise, whether it's call it 6, 8, 10 million, whatever it is, depending on if we successfully sell out, that is meant to enable us to run the DAO operations. Okay, so again, all the functions we just talked about, and then to set up a team that will nominate, that will then be empowered at the direction of the DAO and the voters and the governance mechanism to identify, negotiate, and actually purchase a course. As we've talked about, sort of, again, it's hard to get too specific until we figure out the mechanism. But okay, the point is, we will do a sale. We are trying our damnedest to see if we can include everyone, meaning non-accredited and accredited investors. So we don't know what the ultimate form of the actual sale that will represent ownership of the asset will be. But we will do another fundraising mechanism, within the next, I would say probably 4 months, but call it 6 just to be safe, to raise the funds to actually purchase the asset that we've talked about. Hey, we want to buy one of the top 100 golf courses in the world, right? We want to make it, and that could be literal, it could be spiritual, but we're going to buy one of the greatest pieces of property in the world that we are so excited about as a DAO and that we're all going to agree on. And well, not that we're all going to agree on, but that we're going to vote and get to enough of a vote that we're ready to go do it. And then we're going to go do it, and we're going to turn it, I believe, into one of the best leisure and golf club properties in the world. Turning it over now to the specific question that you asked. Again, and the reason I gave that context is that's sort of phase 2, which is we need to get the initial treasury in place, nominate all the folks to do this, put in place a team that can execute, because this is a very operationally oriented DAO to achieve the core objective. Then it goes to folks like Jim. It goes to folks like Adam, and the people that they know and will bring in, and that I've started to meet, and we've all started to meet, to actually put in place an operational plan for the asset that we purchase. So I don't know if Jim or Adam wants to maybe chat a little bit about how you've been thinking about that piece of it.
Sure, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I think Douglas, ultimately what we want to do is not just purchase one golf course. We want to purchase a slew of golf courses across the world that our membership can take advantage of. And in doing that, we want to ultimately, again, this is conceptually, right now we're drawing up the plan. We want to keep the cost down as much as possible for the overall membership with things like partnerships, with things like how we can actually utilize an NFT structure to have an a la carte country club experience for everybody. So I think that the rethinking of the country club is not just a cultural one, it's also going to be a financial one, where we don't have to rely on kind of the the historic mechanisms for funding the operation of a golf course, which, to your point, is quite expensive. The power of this group is going to be the size, the engagement, and the ability to pick and choose the amenities and experiences they want at the LinksDAO network of golf courses ultimately.
That's cool. So do you guys so I guess the goal in my mind would kind of be like a TPC type course where, there's Summergrass and there's one in Arizona and, I just think down the road, a good idea, it's got to end up being like as cool as it would be to be all members, like everybody who bought the NFT who continues to buy it. It'd be probably better long term to be like public and private just to make that revenue from oncoming golfers. Again, I know that's long term thinking, but that just seems like a good way to go in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean there are a few different models to run here. There's the TPC model, like you mentioned. There's a Dorming Network model, which is a network of courses that have members. I think we're going to draw on things like, what happens in the UK and Ireland, where a lot of the top courses there are accessible to the public, but you just have to pay a hefty fee to play the old course. If you remember, at the old course, your dues are subsidized by all of the tourists that are coming to play at St. Andrews. There's all sorts of outings that can be run by people that are not members at the club, which generate a significant portion of revenue for lots of private courses in the United States. There's events that could be hosted by non-members. So there's a bunch of different ways to monetize the property. And I don't think that easier said than done, but that is less of a concern to me. I think the point that Jim made of not just thinking sort of the vibe and culture of what a club is like, but also sort of the notion of what it means to be a member. And there have been ideas kicked around in the Discord today that I saw around fractionalizing memberships, right? Which doing this in a Web3 context enables much more easily than if you were to do it in a off-chain sort of traditional way. So I think ultimately super early on this, but starting to have conversations, as Mike said, with really the most significant players in this space, both club operators, owners, drawing on personal connections that can really inform the way that we approach this and build something that's very sustainable and can last for a very long time.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you guys for taking my questions. I know I don't have the technical ability to speak like you guys. I'm just a caddy. I just I've been around golf my entire career, and I just thought this thing's gonna be really cool. So really appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome.
Well, I actually think what given your experience as a caddy, I was talking to a friend of mine who's also who's in Links, sort of in the Discord, and one of the things that he brought up was actually in the UK and Ireland, most of the caddies at those clubs are also members at those clubs. It's only in the United States at a lot of these top courses where there's this sort of dichotomy between members and caddies and members and other people that are not in the public. And one of the things that I think is super powerful is building this true community of members who, why shouldn't a member want a caddy? They know the course as well as anybody else, right? So I think that there's a really interesting opportunity here to build a strong, sort of membership culture, but also this notion of rethinking sort of caddy culture in the US in a way that doesn't exist here.
Yeah, that's cool. I've always thought about that. There is a very big, there's a distance between the members and the caddies. Some members that Trump around, just straight up hate caddies. They hate us. The guests, they all love us. The good members, they love us. But some members are just so, I don't know what their disdain is against us. But it would be cool to build that relationship with members on early, and have them kind of be members as well. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we, at least on the, not to get too in the weeds on the caddy side of things, but one of the things that I super appreciate that Mike Kaiser has done at his properties, and we're drawing on the templates of a lot of these other sort of locations, is that if you go to Bandon, if you go to Cabot, if you go to Sand Valley, you get the same caddy the entire time you're there, right? There's something
no
really
shit.
all about like building a rapport with that caddy over 3, 4, 5 rounds. They start to know your tendencies. They start to be able to club you really easily. It's not like you're dropped in with this person and you have to get to know them in 4 hours and then you just like disappear, right? You get to actually like build a rapport with them over the course of, you know, multiple rounds. So I think that's definitely something that I think would be awesome to draw upon.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. Again, thanks for this time to talk, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Douglas, and maybe just one other thing, because I think you brought up a great point, and I mean, Bez, he nailed it. It's like, you know, you had this division between caddies and players, but I think in a lot of clubs, you also have a division between all the members, right? There's like, there ends up being a caste system between the members. And it's hard to get to know people and it's hard to get comfortable in the club. And one of the great things about what we're all building together here is that all goes away because we've built this beautiful egalitarian community like in the early days. So I think the idea of sharing ideas, of sharing governance, of inclusion is just core to what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I see new members come in all the time. They're like, who should I play with here? I'm like, I have no clue. But this is cool. This is really cool.
All right. So we've got some new folks up. Happy to start taking questions and talking about the drop, the plans, you name it.
Hey guys, thanks for having us on here. Douglas, I used to caddy as well too, my man. I caddied for about 20 years, and then I've been fortunate enough to be able to join the club that I caddied at. But I thought he brought up yeah, thanks. But I thought he brought up a very good point, right? If you are trying to go with a straight private country club aspect, they ask me for my dues every year. Would that be something that we would have to do as well too? Every year we need to, put up another couple of ETH or something like that. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a great question. And my goal would be that the commitment on an ongoing basis would not be the same as a traditional, membership club. One, I think, by the way, you're going to hear different opinions and different thoughts from everybody here because this is a true DAO, right? So like, my perspective and what I think, might happen is going to be different than Bez or Jim or Lindsay or whomever whoever is up here. So I would say, my feeling is we will have failed if if membership in this amazing club, whether it started as one or ends as, dozens, if not more, requires what you just talked about, like private ownership dues in the same way that we've historically thought of clubs. I think it's incumbent upon us to figure out new revenue stream. We don't have to make money, right? Like we just basically need, and this was like, I remember on day 1 or 2 of the DAO, somebody was like, what model are you going for? Are you going for the Apple model, like major profit? Or are you going for the, high growth model? Are you going for the Amazon model, which is like just break even? Like Mark Cuban's written some incredible posts about Web3 and how, your objective can literally be to just grow the overall value of the community, which then accrues to the overall value of the token or the governance token, and everybody does well. But the economics of the network are effectively break even. It just continues to grow, and at some point, could have the option to grow as a fee accruing mechanism if that became required. So to move back to what you asked, I think based on what we have here is an ability to attract community and capital and therefore attention, and therefore additional revenue in terms of partnerships, in terms of merch, in terms of affiliation, you name it, that gives us an unfair economic advantage over traditional club models. And we are going to ruthlessly apply that to ensure that, if, again, I'm saying like my goal would be that we will ruthlessly apply that to ensure that it does not cost anywhere near what it would cost at any other club in the world to access the quality of experience that we will provide.
Yeah, I would echo Mike's sentiments there. I think there's a lot of different ways to, and the team is already, and when I say team, I mean like literally like hundreds of people that are contributing to this, well beyond sort of the people that were sort of up on stage to start here. Just thinking through all the different ways to monetize this project in a way that's sustainable but authentic and genuine, whether that's building like a truly sort of true lifestyle brand that you can monetize through all sorts of merch that people want to wear, want to feel proud to wear, whether they're a global member, a leisure member, someone who is at the club every single day, or someone that's never set foot on the property, but simply loves being part of this community in the Discord. And also even thinking about a number of different ways to monetize the business in a way that's a little bit more thoughtful and run the business in a way that's way more thoughtful than traditional clubs are run. Jim and I were on a call with someone who has purchased a couple different clubs. And one of the things he mentioned was like all these clubs, essentially run at break even, mostly for the purposes of being because they want to be categorized as a nonprofit. But they don't actually care about the expenses at the end of the year. Because if they're, 400 K in the red, then they assess the 400 members $1,000 and now they're whole. And that's because those people aren't operating in a way that is sort of aligned with the vision for every member there, and they're not trying to build a much more like egalitarian and thoughtful culture in the way that this group is thinking about it from scratch, actually operating the business in a way that, not in a penny pinching way, but in a way that actually makes sense from a unit economics perspective.
And the thing is, doing that with prudent unit economics, but again, also an incredible advantage in terms of anywhere we go, we now have a brand. I mean, we have almost 6,000 people now in this Discord. I don't know there's ever been a negotiating entity in the world of golf and leisure that could come with that level of commitment. I mean, the names, the people, the passion, and the credibility to go and to buy it. Like, there are so many, like the folks who want to work with us, I believe, and the folks that I've spoken with within the DAO believe, based on what they've heard, want to participate with us in a way that again is going to give us effectively an unfair advantage that I think is unchangeable. It's unfair in that it's unfair to traditional financiers, traditional people who have tried to purchase golf assets, but incredibly fair to whoever chooses to partner with us on sale of an asset, partnership of an asset, or deciding to work with LinksDAO. Pardon the background noise here. It sounds like people are like dying. Like my dad's actually watching a movie. That's loud.
I thought that was Ollie, Mike, but it's not.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like some kind of action horror movie going on in the background. Apologies.
All right, well, thanks for that. Also, too, just kind of, doing the rough numbers, right? If you guys sell out the 0.72, 1818, and the 0.18 at 72.72, if ETH holds the current value, I think that's about 10 million, plus or minus the variance.
10% is being held back, by the way, for Treasury. And what Treasury means is that's marketing partnerships. It could be influencers. It could be XYZ. We could choose to resell them in the future. If not, they effectively go to the DAO treasury, which means, the treasury of everybody who's purchased before. Okay. But yeah, we were, so just discount by 10%, whatever number you were thinking about, because 10% is
Okay. So, I mean, this is a very far-reaching project, and I mean, I'm a massive golf fan. I mean, I'm also a member. I mean, I've just been playing golf my entire life, so naturally, I was just, sort of attracted to this. But where is that second round of funding come? I mean, with the goals that you guys have, the money that's going to be generated off of this mint, if it does sell out, which I think it will. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket of expenses of, what you guys are trying to purchase and acquire as far as just the assets of the land, the golf, and then you also have the salaries and maintenance and all that. So if you could kind of elaborate on,
I mean, Jim's asking all these questions. So basically, the business model is, if you can prove that you have a community who cares, meaning like people are willing to spend that amount on the NFT, guarantee you, like I would almost guarantee you with near certainty that within 3 to 4 months, we'll have people knocking down the doors to give us capital to go acquire a club. Like it's a stunning, like advantage that we have.
Okay, so it's just show guys you have money in the piggy bank type thing, and
know that you're credible. I mean, we have a team. I'll let Jim answer.
I mean, we've already had multiple groups come to us. We had essentially one group basically tell us that they have a couple of courses that they think would make sense for us. Now that's very far from, hey, we've got a credible target, but there are groups that recognize the influence of this entity already, the people that are involved.
Yeah, and Frankie, maybe just to build on that and what Mike is saying. So we raise the initial funds and we have it in the treasury, and this gets the project truly off the ground in a tangible way. We have a community of over 9,000 people who are going to be actively engaged. So the value of that to potential future investors, to potential partnerships, because what Bez was talking about before too is, as we think about how we actually monetize in this kind of this forward-thinking business model, we want to try to find a way to keep the things like membership dues, things like initiation fees reasonable or completely eliminated and replaced by new revenue models. So if we have a very big network of folks in the DAO, and we have some ultimate money in our treasury that we're able to deploy, it's going to be very easy for us to raise in the future. So I think that it's a very good question. At this point, we feel extremely confident in our ability to raise to purchase a course that everybody in the initial NFT drop in the DAO is going to be very, very excited about, and obviously weigh in as well in terms of which way we should be going with the courses.
Okay. All right. Thanks for expanding on that. And then just one last question, if I can. It's about the NFT drop. So with this, kind of membership, the leisure membership, if somebody, bought that first tier membership at 0.72, can they sell that on the secondary on OpenSea?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, when would this sort of so then that person would not have any benefits for minting / owning. The benefits would only be sort of applicable to the current wallet owner of that. Then, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Good question.
Guys, I want to say just this is awesome, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. This is a brilliant idea and one of the best use cases for this. So, just awesome job so far. One of my questions is, California, for instance, right, they're able to skirt certain tax liabilities because ownership never fully changes hands with country clubs, right? That's one of the benefits. So depending on, is there influence in like certain regions, or are you guys eyeing certain areas that may have more favorable laws for group ownership? I guess question number one. And then question number two, does the DAO get considered as a single entity in that, or does each stakeholder in this, each NFT holder then represent like a share? And would that help or hurt us or in tax liabilities or anything like that from an operational standpoint? Thanks.
Yeah, I'll say on your first question. So all of these things are being considered when we're looking at potential course acquisitions. Again, with the end goal of providing the best course experience for the membership of the DAO and people that decide to be members at the ultimate physical course. In terms of your second question, I'm a bit unclear. So anybody who's going to be buying the NFT will not have physical ownership of the course itself. Just the right in terms of the physical course and all the other benefits that we've laid out. They'll have the right to buy a membership ultimately at the physical course. So, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't know that has necessary tax implications.
Yeah, what was the question? Yeah, sorry, I missed it. I missed the question, the specific tax question. Do you mind rephrasing it real quickly?
Yeah. So in California, for instance, they're grandfathered into pre-1973 tax law because country club ownership is represented as the group of owners, right? So every member of country clubs there represents a share of the club. And so I'm wondering, is that something that's being looked at to be advantageous in
that's
this?
a tremendous question. We have not gotten into state-specific laws. We know, by the way, it's a great question that literally, ownership of golf courses, for example, and private clubs is like literally one of the. I mean, it's like the Exhibit A case study in securities law. The literal Orange Grove case of selling shares in Orange Grove. So we have some of the best legal representatives on earth working with us to ensure that we don't become defendants in SEC action. We're going to prudently approach and evaluate where we purchase, what we purchase, and what we promise to holders of the asset, the NFT asset, right? What we believe is, though, in the interim, in terms of the NFT that folks are purchasing or may choose to purchase this weekend, is that as Jim described, the governance benefits, the ability to define the future, path, culture, where we purchase, how we purchase, and what we do of a course, up to a point, meaning not making the ultimate financial decision, the ultimate, what you just talked about, things that have like legal and tax implications decision, but still having the right to purchase separately a membership or again, resell the NFT so that somebody else has it, gives, sort of, call it quote unquote, some, I'm not going to use any term like it just, people can make their decision as to whether, they think that's something they want to purchase in a community that they want to become a part of, for those reasons. Tons of, all the risks, like all the, potential, upside of being a part of the community and what we might actually deliver on, and the ability to purchase membership. But yeah, reasonable question. Don't have the specific answer to that specific question. That's really thoughtful. And we're going to have a series, by the way, of we're going to bring our legal experts in. I think I mentioned this a week ago. I was going to say a week or two ago, but we didn't exist 2 weeks ago. As we get closer to making decisions about where to purchase, discuss significant legal issues like that. All right.
Hey guys,
Next.
just want to hop in here. Super excited about the project and the progress that you guys have made in just 2 weeks is super impressive, and all the community and excitement. Somebody earlier was talking about kind of localizing it and the ability for others who don't have NFTs or memberships to participate. And there was also talk about ongoing revenue streams and unit economics. I think one idea that I had, and this is just kind of throwing it out there, but practice facilities, like I would be curious if anybody's familiar with the unit economics there, because I feel like we could kind of set up a bit of a play to earn system where the people who don't necessarily, have the memberships to the clubs can kind of check in at ranges that are either owned and operated by us or just partnered, and there's a rev share there. And then if you kind of practice enough, you earn rounds at the course. Just because, like,
I kind of love this. It's like play to earn, fit to earn type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Have we thought about this explicitly? Has anybody actually? I don't know that it's been mentioned, Beth.
There's been some discussion as it relates to the practice facilities and how good those unit economics actually are. Like it's like Mike. I can't remember if you were on the call if it was when Whitney and I talked on our own or when you were on it, but like the unit economics of those businesses and also just the culture and vibe of those practice facilities, those great ranges are just awesome, and can fit really well with, I think, what we're trying to convey both on the Discord and also at the club level. I think. And
then the question is, can you invite in a broader group to make it more inclusive?
From a play to earn perspective, people had, I feel like I saw a couple messages in either the Clubhouse or Buy a Course channels specifically talking about the idea of a play to earn model. I don't know if it was specifically about a network of practice facilities, but more so just the idea that incentivizing people to be engaged as members at the club, because ultimately, I mean, it's easy to say now, like, oh yeah, once we have the club, everyone's going to want to be there all the time. But like, shit happens, life takes over, people can disengage, and there's value to incentivize people to be active members of the club, contributing in different ways, not just using the course, but contributing on committees and other things like that. I also think a network of practice facilities is a great way to extend the LinksDAO brand and monetize the business in a way that can really allow people to, back to one of the original earlier questions tonight, reduce the amount of dues that people have to pay. Right? If you have a network of practice facilities all over the country, people love and use, think maybe less, maybe not quite Topgolf level, but even just basic ranges, or more fun version of a range, you can start to generate a ton of revenue that can offset the dues that members have to pay.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was thinking, and I think it speaks to A, the broader imperative to grow the game, and B, leveraging the community we have, which is very much localized, in order to kind of drive engagement and, like you said, offset the normal dues. And I also think that it doesn't have to be owned and operated. If they're not great unit economics, you can kind of fill out demand in courses or in practice facilities globally by funneling demand from our community there. And so even if it's a rev share model, I think there's some upside there. But super excited about the project and excited to mint.
Yeah, I just, everything you just described is why this project is so exciting. It's that we can not only rethink what it is to be a country club and what that means and how you operate it and how you interact with one another. We're going to create entirely new revenue and business models together where any traditional club could never hope to achieve what we're going to achieve in this project because of ideas like what you just mentioned right there. So I think this thing is ultimately it's going to just be such an enormous success because the ideas are going to be coming from our NFT holders, and what we can implement as more of like a hive mind community is pretty much endless. So I mean, in 10 years, hopefully we own 10, 20, 30 courses, and we're coming up with new and interesting ideas together. So I really just think the opportunities are endless here.
Totally agreed. Thanks for the time and question, guys.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hey, gents, I have to jump off. This is Dudas. I think the rest of the folks can kind of handle, and I'll make sure that we do another Discord podium and or Twitter Spaces either tomorrow or Friday. Okay. I'm sorry, either tomorrow or Thursday before the drop. Okay. Really appreciate it. Thanks, friends.
Sounds
Thanks,
good. Hey, thanks for having this podium. My question actually is not related to the one that just came before me, but man, the idea of network of practice facilities and play to earn is incredible, and that just got me really excited about the mint coming up. But my question, I was kind of out of pocket today, and I'm just starting to catch up with what's been going on in the server. Is it too late to get on the whitelist for global membership? Are those all filled, or is that still available?
Dom, are you there? Is this a question you can answer?
I think Dom's still on mute. I think the whitelist is now closed at this point as of just shy of 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. But there are, I think if I understand it right, there are like 900 spots or maybe 900 plus.
Yeah, half are being dropped on New Year's Eve day, and then the other half are being dropped on New Year's Day. So the pre-sale, I'll call it what we've dubbed community access sale on 12/31. Those slots are taken up, but if whatever is not sold on 12/31 plus another 50% of the entire NFT allocation is going to be made available on Jan 1.
Okay, so the I think I saw like 1,800 global memberships. Those were for whitelists that will be dropped on New Year's Eve, and then the other 900 will be dropped on New Year's Day.
909 and 909.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep.
Thanks, Will. Saltwater, BB, saw a couple of you guys. Frankie, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Just really quickly, are there any different types of rarity on these NFTs? I mean, the way I'm understanding it is, the NFT is just a tool to kind of prove membership. They'll all kind of be the same. Some won't be more rare than others, correct?
Great question, Frankie. These are all identical membership cards, and each one of those has a certain member benefit associated with it, and then there's upward limits on ownership of each one of those, but no specific rarity associated with them today.
Thank you, guys, and sorry for cutting in front of you there, Saltwater. Thanks, guys.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying what's up. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Man, how are you?
Great, man.
Good. So when we raise the capital and you guys put it into the C Corp, are you guys gonna then start using that capital? I was listening earlier, but is it all gonna be used for like the expansion of the project and like how it is like infrastructure wise, or is it more so to use as like the treasury only and then try to raise capital at that kind of valuation and go forward? Because I know you guys are trying to raise capital.
Yeah, I mean, the capital that's raised through the NFT drop is going to be used for funding the operating expenses are necessary for spinning up the C corp and basically running the business to actually go out and source the property, diligence it, do the transaction. There's going to be another financing that needs to happen in order to fund the transaction. And then in addition to funding the transaction, hopefully there's going to be additional capital raised as part of that to hopefully offset a number of the initial expenses that are associated with the club. But basically this initial drop is to fund the treasury that can hopefully fund the OpEx necessary with legal costs and C corp formation and all of the other sort of and hiring a team, building out a team, and compensating those people who are going to be running this show on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just trying to see how you guys were going to raise on it in terms of valuation, and then go forward for each drop for each location, or going to raise and then buy them and then just only have one location. Just trying to understand.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of thought process around any sort of implied valuation for the project, because ultimately, I think the goal here is to mitigate the need to raise what I would describe as outside venture capital into this entity. The goal is to self-fund this by members of this Discord and the DAO, be a truly members owned entity. I'm sure there will be, as Judith talked about earlier, and as Jim said earlier, like there'll be no shortage of interest from people who want to be a part of this from an investment perspective. But I think for the purposes of controlling our own destiny, so to speak, and building something that we feel is consistent with the ethos of what we're trying to accomplish, raising outside capital from some other fund or other entity is probably going to sort of taint that in some way.
So if you need accredited investors, will you come here first, or will you have like your own internal pool? How will that work?
I think it's a great point. I think there's going to be some KYC and accredited investors necessary for the C corp, and I think as we've been doing, continuously throughout this, is making sure the community's sitting here first, and we'll make sure that it's done in a way where accredited investors get an opportunity to do this. But I think that's all TBD, based on structure and everything else too.
Awesome, thanks guys. Yeah, just trying to understand. Thank you very much.
Evening. What's the thinking about the right to join the club associated with the NFTs? Because obviously you're now extending the right to join the club to thousands of people, which is obviously quite a lot for a golf club.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a geographic perspective, not everyone who purchases the NFT is going to be near that club in the first place. So from that perspective, like I don't anticipate the club being inundated with members on a day-to-day basis. And the hope is that over time there's a network of clubs so that those members are dispersed across a wide variety of properties.
This is why I think that starting as a golf indoor facility, making it 2-bay, 3-bay, 4-bay, just build something small where these launch monitors already connect on the internet and we can run community tournaments. Put up your Links coins to bet against someone across the country. So starting this out and getting a golf course off the ground and joining a community of members to go to one specific location, that's going to take a ton of time. But if we sort of plan in advance and plop a couple indoor facilities down year-round all over the place, that's, I think, a great way to grow the community and get this off and running. Good utility for the token.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think that's something we want to do soon, meaning in the next 6 to 9 months, is exactly what you said. Basically, being able to run a simulator network where we can, as a group, play together in tournaments and so on and so forth. As we think about what we've heard from the community and what they want to get out of it, the physical club is also very important. So we want to make sure that we're also optimizing towards the ultimate goal of the overall Discord and community. And I think, based on what we've seen in the conversations we've had, we're very confident that we'll be able to do this kind of in the next like 9 to 12 to 18 months, probably less than that. So I think both things are going to be very important to this overall community, meaning the virtual aspect of it, and BB, what you just described, and also the physical aspect of it in terms of actually standing up a course that people can go to. And then one other note on what was said, I think before you started speaking, BB, is, again, if we talk about economics, most golf courses have 400 or less members. So as we talk about the economics of those golf courses, they're fully dependent on having a set number of members that pay a set number of money on an annual basis. The fact that we're going to have a much larger network and community of people that are going to inevitably be members of the club, it's going to change the ability for us to be flexible in our financial models and our expansion beyond just a single course. So I do agree that if we had a course in New York City and there were 9,000 members, it'd be very difficult to get a tee time. If we have a course with global members across the world in one location, it's actually going to be relatively easy, and we can plan ahead for that and expand to new locations that are optimal for all of our members.
If I can jump in here, thanks guys for the space. Following up on that last thought, having a global membership for multiple courses in the future. Just want to nitpick the first bullet point on these membership cards. It says the NFT will grant us the right to purchase a membership at the first physical club LinksDAO acquires. Is that very specifically like, yeah, you get right in the first club only, or you get a right to any physical membership, or is it just too far out to even make that determination at this point?
It's just, Gregory, it's a great question. It's just too far out at this point.
Got it.
Hey guys, if I can,
that becomes a DAO vote in the future anyway. NFT members, should they have the right to purchase membership at subsequent clubs? I could see that happening.
Yeah, that's a great point, Gregory. I think the language, we spent as much time as we could trying to, match speed with also making sure that we match expectations. And, as Jim was mentioning, I think it's way too early. I think that it's been said multiple times, but the intention is to buy more than one club, and I think we'll put that in consideration.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys, for the space. Or whatever you call it on Discord. I'm like looking for the 100 emoji and the fist bump emoji, but it doesn't work on here.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey guys, if I could make a quick pivot here. I'm not somebody who's super familiar with the NFT space, although I have worked with a few clients in the music industry who are breaking into it. I've got a background in entertainment myself. I see that Matt Medved is involved with this group in some capacity. He's a guy that I've known for a while, but I'm wondering if there's been any discussion around, down the road when we're looking at these actual physical properties, alternative use opportunities, particularly, when we look at the music festival landscape. There, it went from a place where it was completely oversaturated to now it's a little bit undersaturated because of COVID. And, if we're talking about partnerships, things like that, I mean, Live Nation, Golden Voice, AEG, it seems like you've got this huge piece of land, right? And I understand we all want to be in this for the golfing. I'm a caddy myself for many years in high school and college. Not going to profess that I'm any great golfer as a result of all those free rounds. But if we've had any consideration into, alternative uses for the property itself, and then also for the value of the token itself, and if fractionalization becomes a way to become a ticketing opportunity outside of just playing the golf course itself.
Yeah, on the second one, maybe it's a bit too early, but it's a concept we're really looking into. And on your first point, in terms of alternative use, as long as they don't trample the fairways and the greens, definitely look into it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of energy around. Oh, sorry, Bez.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of energy around, some of these alternate revenue streams, and I think that events partnerships and collaborations, whether it be music, whether it be the types of folks that are influencers or alternative uses. And for any folks that are familiar with some of the real estate benefits of the clubs, I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to create revenue through some of these alternate streams that don't include people playing golf there. So but I think we'll prioritize the community first and make sure that everyone is aligned with what those are.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm down to get my axe in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to Jeremiah's point, I think I would say that the hospitality piece here is going to be really important. Whether it's local Airbnbs that we own and make available to members and guests who want to stay near the property, or whether it's on-site cottages and things like that a lot of private clubs and as well as sort of like higher end resort clubs have made available. I think sort of I hate to think about sort of just purely from a monetization perspective, but I actually think it really fosters a much more interesting community dynamic and membership dynamic when you have people who want to stay on site and take in all of what the club has to offer on a 24/7 basis.
Nick, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Just had a quick question. A lot of clubs, private clubs like mine, have a combination of regional and national memberships that are available. These are usually, especially the national, if it's not a strictly national club, can be pretty high margin to the club, as those players usually don't come through that often. But you're thinking about, as you guys work towards the time it's going to take to actually acquire a physical course, kind of like a hub and spoke, has there been any thought into possibly a network of national memberships across different clubs that would kind of allow folks to kind of use? And I know there was a reciprocal aspect to the global membership, but just wondering if that's kind of an easy way to possibly get in the door. It's probably also gives you a pipeline of potential courses, and then gives immediate access. So
yeah, I think 100%. I mean, I think the reciprocity piece that we added to the global tier was in some ways meant to like give people hopefully a ton of value before we have the physical club set up. It won't expire, so to speak, once the club is live. But it was meant to give people on sort of this early access to other courses that people are members at, to allow the community to like meet in person and go to other people's courses and spend time with other members face to face. Then over time, the idea of I'll call it like a local member versus a national member at a LinksDAO owned and operated property is 100% something that we've discussed a ton in a bunch of different channels in the Discord, and is something that I think makes a ton of sense for this group, given how global even these first 6,000 people are.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Nick. I think this has been a phenomenal discussion, and I think we're going to wrap everything up. Keep all the questions coming inside of the Clubhouse channel. Special shout out to Dom, even though he is muted here, for being a boss inside of the channel today and responding to all those crests. Thanks, everyone.